I'm feeling blocked. What am I going to say? I don't know. It's been over a week since I made one of these, so I just need to make one and unblock myself, Ken. Willow agrees. Oh, I've been waking up with headaches every day in the last few days. So I made an appointment with a sports massage therapist for next week. It was the earliest one I could get. I'm going to have to take tablets today because it's cesarean. So I'll do that as soon as I've got off this video making exercise. Other than headaches though, life is pretty good right now. I've got back on track. Productively, maybe. Not quite. But certainly diet-wise. Mental health-wise. This is day 3, I think, of low carbs, which is a good feeling actually. I'm just going to do my check the now, will we? Need my specs so I don't miss the sensor with my droplet, because that can happen. I think it works out at like 70 pence a check. So I just do it once a day in the mornings. And then I note it down in my 5-year planner, which I'll show you in a minute, and in my Notion tracker. 12.5. Yesterday was 12.6. Day before was 12.8. So it's just hovering, it's kind of stuck. And I know from experience it takes at least a week to get it back down. So before that, it was around 14, sometimes as high as 15. So here's my beautiful Hobonichi 5-year tracker. I got it cheap because 2019 had already passed, which is the year at the top. I say cheap. Cheaper than it would normally be. They're not that cheap, Hobonichi books, as any stationery geek will tell you. But in this I tend to write down numbers and just a brief outline of something significant that happened that day. Because then when I get to the next year I can look back, and I just like looking back. It gives me a good feeling of achievement maybe, or of continuity. Don't really know, but it's just something I like to do. And my Notion template has been running for 2 years, I think, in November. Which as systems go is, by far the longest I've ever used a system. And there have been times when I've used it minimally. So I'll maybe put nothing more in it than my daily glucose readings. But other times, like what's starting to happen again now, is that I'll use it to plan what I'm going to do, to plan my projects, to keep track of what I'm publishing. I love that aspect of it. That keeps me going, gives me a wee boost. To do weekly reviews, that's something I've kept going every week since 2 years ago, which is quite an amazing thing actually. And monthly reviews as well. And it keeps me... What are you saying, Willow? Keeps me accountable. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's working. So I saw a tweet yesterday that inspired me to start rethinking my routine in the mornings a wee bit. I'm going to use my Notion template to build out my Gear Music Tech YouTube channel, which I've been doing anyway. I've been sharing my Notion template with my virtual assistant, and I was sharing it with my editor as well. so that whenever anything changes in the database, there's a Slack notification goes out so people know what's happening. And I keep track by building out for each video I'll put in a set of tasks. So I'm going to have proofread script, record voiceover, edit video, publish video. So those 4 things. And they show up in my actions database every day, which is linked into my daily tracking database, so it's all very neat and tidy. Probably makes no sense to anybody who's never looked at Notion, but to those of you who have, it will make some sense. And I think the idea is not really so much that it's the Notion system that's working well for me, although that is important. It's the fact that I have a system. And as I work my way into good mental health, good sobriety, having a system in place is one of the most important things, you know. And my system at the moment has been morning pages, which you'll know about if you've been hanging around on my channel for any length of time. They go in here. And I've got this means of conversation to let you all know how I'm doing, but mainly as a tool for unblocking myself, because the longer I go without making one of these, the more blocked I start to feel, and it gets more and more. So I don't know why I've kind of dropped off from doing these every day. Maybe I'll start picking it back up again and remind myself that this is for me, this is how I unblock. It's not about building a massive following or blowing up or anything like that. It's about just keeping myself creatively unblocked, mentally unblocked, and just keep the system, keep the routine, you know what I mean? So with all that, I'm going to crack on. What I was saying about my new routine was the tweet that I saw talked about, in fact I'll post it in the description if I can remember, but it was about doing your thinky thinks only after you've done your income generating work. And my Gear Music Tech channel is my income generating work, and I need to think of it as such. In fact, I said this very thing when I was on my mastermind call with some other YouTubers. I said I was going to put out at least one Gear Music Tech video a week, and I haven't. I've failed. So I'm picking it up from now. I'm going to work on one this morning. So there you go. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.